Today's Mercedes-Benz interview of the day brought to you by Mercedes-Benz Dream Days. Mercedes-Benz Dream Days are here with exceptional offers. CLE Coupe, E-Class Sedan, C-Class Sedan, CLE Cabriolet going on now through September 3rd. Learn more at MBUSA.com/dream. He is Jason Garrett, Football Night in America studio analyst. The season begins on NBC and Peacock. Chiefs and Ravens, that'll be the Thursday night game. And then Friday, you're going to have football on Peacock as well, where the Eagles and the Packers. And Jason also serves as a game analyst for Notre Dame, working with Dan Hicks. Man, you're busy. Look at you. You're like Belichick. You got a lot of jobs here.
A lot of jobs, yeah. Excited about the start of football season, though, Dan.
Let me. I don't know if you saw this. The Patriots named Jacoby Brissett as their starting quarterback. Give me that philosophy, do you think, with Gerard Mayo, rookie coach, going with a little more experienced quarterback instead of his rookie quarterback?
You know, I agree with the decision. I keep thinking back of what Andy Reid did in Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes, and just the idea that you draft the guy high, you know he's going to be your quarterback of the future. But in Kansas City, they had Alex Smith. Alex is going to play this year. Patrick, you're going to learn. And I think that's probably going to be a similar situation for Drake May in New England. And Jacoby Brissett's an accomplished player. He's played a lot of football. He'll do a good job for them. I don't think they're a great team right now. I don't think the environment is great. So you'd probably rather have a veteran guy who can handle that, the ups and downs of it, maybe a little bit better than a rookie. And Drake will learn at some point this season. I suspect he plays a little bit. And he'll be their quarterback of the future. He certainly showed a lot in the preseason for Patriots fans to be excited about.
What do you need to see from a rookie in preseason that would lead you to believe that he could be your starting quarterback week one?
You know, we had Dak Prescott. We drafted him in the 4th round in 2016. But, you know, Tony Romo was going to be our quarterback. And Kellen Moore was going to be our backup. And Dak was going to be our third guy. And, you know, Dak just played so well at the outset that we felt really good about him. But, you know, he wasn't going to play. Kellen gets hurt in the preseason. Tony gets hurt in the preseason. All of a sudden, you go from 3 to 1. And we're all looking at each other like, okay, we got to figure out how we create an environment for Dak to play well. And we lost our first game. They won 11 in a row. And then we ended up winning 13 games. So it wasn't by design. That's not what we intended to do. But I thought we responded well to create an environment for him. And I think what you do as a staff is you say, okay, what does this guy do well? What has he shown us? Let's try to feature that. I don't know that there's any litmus test that you say, okay, I need to see this in order for him to play. The different situations are what they are. I think it makes sense for Jaden Daniels to play in Washington and for Caleb Williams to play in Chicago. But, you know, they have Jacoby. They did that on purpose. Their team isn't necessarily great. Why not let him wait? He hasn't played as much football as Jaden Daniels did in college, so maybe he's a little less experienced. And I don't mind this route at all.
Tom Brady came out recently and said that it's a tragedy. We're dumbing offenses down for these quarterbacks, and I disagreed because a lot of these quarterbacks have played for 2 different schools, and you know, you saw that with Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams. They're coming in at 23, 24. They've already been paid money. I mean, they're ready to go. So I know, Tom, it sounds like the get off my lawn back in my day, this is the way we do it. But are they dumbing down offenses for Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, and Bo Nix this year?
You know, it's a great conversation. I think the kids growing up these days are so much more advanced in some ways than the quarterbacks way back when. You know, there's all these 7-on-7 leagues. There's all this exposure when they're really young to throwing the football. You know, they have these summer leagues and so there's a lot of throwing and catching going on in this generation that didn't happen quite as much in previous generations. So I think in some ways they're really advanced. In other ways, they're not. To Tom Brady's point, I do think there's like a simplicity that these guys grow up with. You hear a lot of people say, hey, it's a one-word play. The one word tells them everything to do. Like back in the day, you know, the plays were longer. You need to know formations. You need to know variety of defenses. You need to know all these things before you're ready to play.
Give me an old school play call that you remember.
Oh God! I mean, I'll give you an easy one. Okay, explode the bunch right motor, scat right 525 F post swing. Right, and that's the digit system. And so, if you want it, that's the Don Coryell, Sid Gilman, Ernie Zampese, Norv Turner system, Mike Martz, those guys. There's also the West Coast system. Let me think of one there. Far double wing right, Z short, 72 flanker drive, that sort of a thing. And, they get much longer than that if you have shifts and motions and all of that. And I'm not necessarily advocating that, but there has been an evolution. And I do think you have to be careful of saying, okay, we're going to just make it easy on the player and kind of dumb things down. I think you need to challenge them. They're pro football players.
But if I look at now, you go to the line of scrimmage, I just have one word, and then we're going to go to the other play, right?
Well, that's been in football forever.
Yeah,
they used to call them check with me's. You go to the line of scrimmage, you have two plays. Then they became what you call kills and cans. We're going to run the first play till we kill it or can it to the second play. That's been in football for a long time. Now they have 3 and 4 and 5 plays you can go to the line of scrimmage with, depending on your offense. But kids, quarterbacks have grown up looking at the sideline and having a coach hold pictures up.
Yeah.
And nobody calls plays. So, that's part of football. You don't want to be, like you said, the guy screaming, "Get off my lawn." So there's an evolution there, but I also think you need to challenge not only quarterbacks, but all the players to be pro football players and to learn and not to simplify it so much that you're not as comprehensive as you used to be. There's an interesting thing, Dan, that a lot of very smart people talk about. You need to understand learning styles of players. And I've had really good coaches share this with me, and it's something that we always valued. Okay, how does Dan Patrick learn? Okay, how does Drake May learn? How does whoever learn? Are they visual learners? Are they better watching film? Are they better in walkthroughs? Whatever that is. I think it's important to understand that. But if you are in football, you understand that in a meeting, typically you'll see a list of plays. Okay, that's the game plan. It's a list. And then that meeting will evolve to, we're going to show you drawings of those plays. Then we're going to show you film of those plays. Then we're going to go walk through those plays. Then we're going to go practice those plays. Then we're going to come back afterwards and watch the film of those plays. And then we're going to walk through them again. So whatever kind of learner you are, the essence of teaching in football has been you're going to get it a lot of different ways. So to say that he can't handle it, Patrick, he can't handle it, so we're going to give him one word. Sometimes I think you're diminishing the player. And I get things evolve. I get things grow. You want to keep it simple for guys, but at the same time, you want to challenge them and help them be pro football players. And I think that's probably the essence of what Tom Brady was talking about.
Okay, that's fair. But also, I think, aren't we saying to the entire offense, you guys need to learn the play? So if I have one word and I say it's banana, everybody knows what banana is. I don't have to give the tight end or the line blocking assignments, my running back. So why not make it more simple so your entire team they have to learn the system, not just the quarterback who's then going to be the conductor to the orchestra?
It's a great question, but if you look at a call sheet in the NFL, and I'm not necessarily advocating this, there might be 300 plays on an offensive call sheet for a game. Now, you're not going to run 300 plays. If it's a good offensive day, you run 70 of them. But there's a lot of different situational things that you have to be prepared for. They may or may not come up in a game, right? So the question for me is, okay, let's use banana. Let's use banana. Then we'll use avocado. We'll use orange. We'll use apple. We'll use how many of those fruits and vegetables can you use to get to the number of plays that you want? And my experience has been, for me, when you're saying, okay, banana means all these things, apple means all these things, Arizona means all these things, your brain only can handle so much of that stuff and know all the little specific intricacies of all the different things. Sometimes you want to tell a guy, hey, 525 F post. The F is running a post. Now, we used to call that Ernie because it was Ernie Zampese, right? We evolved to a word too. Scat right Ernie. Got it. Okay. But if you want to have the number of plays that you want and all the volume you have in your offense, you run out of fruits and states and
okay. How about we
presidents.
do this though, Jace? How about we just go, I'm going to throw the ball on a post pattern to Michael Irvin. That's the play.
What's the protection? What's the formation?
Just protect me. Just like, it feels like you guys like having your own language. You know, that somebody has oily hips or they're a waist bender or, there's always some new 3 technique. There's every year that you got to have a new one here. It's like you guys are lawyers and you're speaking to one another.
Well, it's a great point. I do think descriptions are great, but if you said, okay, instead of calling Aaron Donald a 3 technique, if every time you referred to the position he played as he's the guy that lines up on the outside shoulder of the left guard, you'd rather just say he's the 3 technique, right?
No, I would just say it's Aaron Donald. Like, I don't need to tell you anything other than that's Aaron Donald. He doesn't have a position to me. He's just a football player.
He needs to know where to line up, though.
Yeah, right? He knows where to line up, wherever he damn well pleases to line up. We're talking to Jason Garrett, NBC Football Night in America, studio analyst. Did you ever get involved in contract negotiations?
Not really. No, not specifically. I mean, we talked about the macro ideas of it, but never specifically with the numbers.
Were you ever asked about a certain player?
Oh, constantly.
No, but with money attached to it.
You have those discussions all the time. You're always thinking about, okay, the priorities, this is a guy that we should go pay. We needed to pay Zach Martin. He's a 6-time Pro Bowler. Let's go pay Zach. I don't know if it's $15 million, $16 million, whatever. You get it. The people who are doing the actual negotiation get into all those specifics, but the essence of it is we need him on our team.
But weren't you going to take Johnny Manziel instead?
We were not going to take Johnny Manziel. There's a good story about that, though.
Okay. It felt like the owner wanted to take him. Maybe the GM didn't, or the GM wanted to and the owner did. Wasn't that with Jerry, that it felt like Manziel, but then wiser heads prevailed, and then it was Zach Martin?
Yeah, I think I think the best way to describe that in hindsight is Jerry was enamored with the idea of having, a quarterback transition. We had Tony Romo at the time. He loved the idea of Montana to Steve Young, Favre to Rodgers, those kinds of things. So he was being forward-looking on who was the next quarterback for the Cowboys and not being afraid to draft that guy. And he really liked Johnny Manziel, but it worked out that we had an opportunity to get Zach Martin, and we all embraced that.
You got a smile on your face, so
he's only made 10 straight Pro Bowls.
Oh, I know. You made the right call, but it felt like that's where Jerry could have used veto power to say, nope, we're going to take Johnny Manziel. He likes shiny objects, so Johnny was a shiny object.
Well, the shiny object there was Zach Martin was the blinking light on the draft board. Like, this is the guy who's graded way higher than everybody else. Let's take him. And we followed that blinking light.
Have we gotten to the point where we've taken Mahomes for granted, that we just expect him? We did this with Tom. We did this with Michael Jordan. I mean, we do this with greatness. But have we done that with Mahomes, that we just assume he's going to be great, and we assume they're going to be a Super Bowl contender?
Yes, we have gotten to that point. And that's just the way it is in society. It's human nature. But, one thing that I was so amazed by, and I've said this out loud a few times, I thought what they did at the end of last year was remarkable. I thought it was Andy Reid's best coaching job he's ever done. If you think about how much they were flopping around on offense all year long. They were playing really good defense, but they weren't good on offense. They were trying to find their way.
Yeah.
And it's almost like some guys got into a room and said, okay, enough of that. This is what we're doing. And I saw it with my own eyes. I said, they're going to hand it to Pacheco. They're going to throw it to Kelsey. They're going to throw it to Rashee Rice, period. And if anybody else gets it, that's fine. But these guys are the guys that we're going to give the ball to. And if you watch them the last part of the season and through the playoffs, that's exactly what they did. We did the Kansas City Miami game, the really cold game, Mike Tirico and I. And I'm watching, I'm like, this is what they're going to do. And it's exactly what they did. It's like, we're going to throw it to the guys that we have complete faith and confidence in, and we're going to roll right through this. And they just got their act together and played so confidently and decisively in the biggest moments. Their defense played great, and it was really fun to watch.
But also, you saw this transition of they realized they were a defensive team first. It wasn't – usually you think Mahomes and Kelsey and Andy that it's going to be offense, that they realized they're going to lean on their defense the way the defense used to lean on the offense. That game against the Raiders where they got embarrassed, they got humbled, I thought that was the – you know, you don't want to have a good loss, but that was a good loss because that woke them up and they realized we can't win this way. We got to win another way.
Right. And I do think that consciously or subconsciously, they had the standard of their success in the past in the back of their minds. Like, okay, this is the offense that we've been. We got to try to get back there. And then they looked at each other and said, okay, that guy's playing in Miami. That guy's no longer with us. Okay, here's what we got. How do we maximize this group? And I'm sure there was a meeting after that game that you're referring to. I'm sure there was a meeting where they said, okay, what are we doing? Who can we trust? These are the guys that we can trust, build it around them. And that's what they did. And that's why I thought it was so remarkable. They still relied on their defense, but their offense played plenty well enough through the playoffs. And they were fantastic. And the coach is on another level and the quarterback's on another level.
Great to talk to you as always. Have fun with the season. Notre Dame as well. Thank you for joining us, Jace.
Always enjoy it. Thanks, Dan. See you,
Jason
buddy.
Garrett, Football Night in America analyst, former Cowboys head coach, and now an analyst for Notre Dame again with Dan Hicks. They've got the opening night on Thursday night next week. That'll be at Arrowhead Stadium. Football Night in America will be there. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern with the Ravens and the Chiefs. All right, we'll take a break, and we'll come back. We got phone calls, and also we have the rudest cities in America.